Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to go over the fetch lands and see if there's a good price for us to buy in, especially if modern is ever going to pick up again. Let's get to it. So I pretty much want to stick with the enemy fetch lands, and then if we can have time at the end, I might just go over the allied fetch lands as well. But the allied fetch lands were printed in Khans of Tarkir. And because of that, there's a big price difference between the two. So Zendikar, the ones that were from Zendikar and Zendikar Expeditions, they only got reprinted as a secret lair, which the price I think was actually quite high, and it's staying pretty reasonable right now, even with the new sets that have come out. So I know that you can get them as box toppers for Zendikar Rising. So because of all of the supply, these have dropped. Now, I would be very surprised, again, if Wizards of the Coast decides to reprint these in the next year. Yeah, I think that makes sense. They would have to be absolutely out of their minds to want to reprint the enemy and allied fetch lands in the next 1 to possibly even 2 years. It wouldn't make any sense. Mainly because people wouldn't go crazy for the product anymore, and the prices would have to drop on the Wizards of the Coast side, and the anger that would probably come from the other group, which is the investing side, for the modern cards, would probably be enough to completely collapse modern as it is, or what it was. So let's have a quick look and see. I know that some of these actually did peak in price, but then they came back down, now like stabilizing. So you can see in the past, there used to be a time where Misty Rainforest, and I'm pretty sure I only ever got one of each, but it's one of those things I always do, which is get one of each. But when it comes to lands, I'm always on the lookout for a better price. When they first came out, they were actually quite reasonable. And after each set release, there was a bit of a period in time. So I think let's just do the calculation. That was it peaked. So it's like a 1 year. Every Christmas, is that every? That can't be a coincidence. Okay, so it's early every year. Maybe you guys can explain that phenomenon. March to April or February to April, every year there's a bump up in price. Now we're approaching February, March, April. I don't know if that means that there's going to be a bump up in price, and if it is, then please explain to me why there is. I would expect it to be the tax reasons. Maybe you guys get the. I'm saying mostly from the US side. From Australia or Canada, I don't know when you get the tax refunds, but maybe the tax refunds kind of like flow into Magic. I think I've heard that happening pretty reasonably in the past. So you always want to make sure that you kind of wait until the end of the year to start buying into these. Makes perfect sense. So I'd probably say, keep an eye on the end of the year for this kind of stuff to drop a bit. But you can see right now, like Misty Rainforest is on a low that it hasn't seen since 2019. And March, April 2620, this card peaked, and now it's dropping back down to around about $70 average, $62 marketplace. You can get one from TCG for $60, I think. Impossible to tell if actually I did bring this up, didn't I? So okay, so $70 on TCG, 64 near mint, not too bad at all. And you might even be able to find them even cheaper or trade into them from your local game shop. So it's up to you guys on how you want to get this, but it feels like they have dropped down from their peaks of around about $90 to $80 or higher even that they were at the middle of last year to slowly dropping down over the end of the year. If it follows the same pattern as always, which it seems to be doing, which is around about February to April, it peaks again, then there's a chance that it might be on an upward turn. So you might want to, if you're into modern and you think that there's a future for modern, you might want to have a look into it. I'm not going to make any financial advice with this. Weirdly enough, trading card or card games have become enough of a finance and money sink where I probably had to put a disclaimer, and I'm surprised others don't. The same as you would if you're like giving stocks or like trading advice or you know uh, any of that. But anyway, let's just move on. Rambling. Next one, Arid Mesa. Now this one did drop pretty hard, and strangely enough, it actually dropped October 2019 all the way down to March 28, 2020. It'll be a coincidence if somehow Magic the Gathering predicted the virus's impact before it even happened, or the slowdown of the economy coincidentally before it even happened. But I don't think that's the case. It is interesting to see that this one. Actually, I think did I pull up the wrong? Nope. The Modern Masters. Modern Masters. Okay. So Modern Masters. This one has had a way more varied lifespan. 29 to 46, dropping back down to 31. It's nowhere near as predictable as the other one. You can see the peaks again, February to June, February to March. This was mostly because of the government, central banks and government funds, but March to June. And there's a chance that we might once again pick up. You can get it for $32 on TCG. I should probably really advertise to TCG and be like, "Hey guys, um, get me some stuff." Uh, yeah. So $40. I think when I picked this up the first time, it was like $45 or $50. So it's cheaper than when I got it, and I got it at what I felt like a decent time. So whether or not it drops further, it's hard to tell. But once again, it feels like it's at a low point, and there's a chance that it might go back up again. Same thing for Marsh Flats. Very volatile, moving up and down, pretty much impossible to truly predict. It really does depend on the reprints, but if, and I know Rudy once again mentioned it this morning, if Wizards of the Coast decides to make a reprint of any modern staples that they've already reprinted in the Secret Lairs or Double Masters or, well, Double Masters more Commander, but anyway, if they reprint any of these again in the next year, they obviously don't care about modern or the future of the investing community, because I feel like they've gotten themselves into a corner where they can't touch this stuff for at least 1 to 2 years, or it's really going to either bring some anger, or people are just going to say, yeah, this is what we expected, and everyone backs off. So it's hard to tell. This one really isn't at a low point. The low point was a couple of, like, maybe a month or two ago. $35, but it's not really peaking it either. It's like they're sitting at 30. Well, you can get it for 31 on TCG. The lowest it was is 34, so the 31 on TCG is actually very interesting. I can see it for 36 lightly played, which is pretty good. 36 lightly played is pretty good. I should really probably just get into this, but from my side, it really depends on what kind of decks I'm playing. The next one is Scalding Tarn. And this one, you can see the same kind of January to, it's got longer peaks, but does the same thing. February, April, March, May, June. And it's, slowly picking up, but nothing too crazy. It does feel like it's at a low point on this entire chart. And as long as Wizards of the Coast doesn't backstep on any promises and reprint, like, 5 more of these this year, this should be okay. This should be pretty consistent from now on. From TCG, the lowest, I feel like this is already moving faster than the graphs are showing. I don't know if I need to put this video out today or tomorrow, because I'm worried about how much of a difference it's going to make in just that timeline. But I'll probably say that 64 is okay. I don't remember exactly what I got this from, but you guys can let me know if this is actually already moved far further ahead than my predictions for what I think would be a steady gain into this modern staples, should I say, because of the fear. Last one is Verdant Catacombs. So it is a very consistent pattern for some of these, aren't there? Okay. So it is at a low point. It's at the same point that it was actually probably even before 2018, probably early 2018 when it started peaking, $42 on TCG. That actually feels pretty already. Yeah, that feels pretty good to me. $53 on TCG, 52 for a near mint. Yeah, so I actually think that some of these look pretty good. I don't know if they're consistently a good pickup from now on, just because of the fact that Wizards of the Coast almost reprinted them twice in 1 year. The next couple of years, next couple of months are going to be very much based on how much is Wizards of the Coast going to dabble their toes into modern again. If they leave it alone, they might be learning. And Rudy said something about they plan about 18 months ahead, which means they might not have seen how much damage that was going to be done, and not including obviously the virus. How much of a slowdown that was going to be. So maybe they didn't expect prices to come down at all, if anything. So they actually haven't come down as much as you would think, but at the same time, they haven't peaked or anything at this point. So let me know how it goes, guys, and thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll continue with this. Thanks again.